Welcome to Ghostly Gazette, where the shadows hold secrets and the trees whisper tales of the eerie and unexplained. Join us as we journey into the heart of the woods to uncover 5 spine-chilling true stories that will leave you questioning what lurks in the darkness. So grab your flashlight, hold tight to your courage, and prepare to delve into the chilling mysteries of the forest. Because in the woods, the truth may be far more terrifying than fiction. I was hiking down off a mesa alone at night and kept getting the feeling that I was being watched. I had a headlamp that I was using in red mode because it was nearly out of batteries, and also to preserve my night vision. Anyway, I get the feeling that I'm being watched for like the 3rd or 4th time, and I'm just like, fuck this, what is this? So I turn around and turn the headlamp to spot mode, full bright white light. I see a shape or shadow quickly move behind some bushes, like 25 yards behind me. Real low, real fast, real smooth. I called my friend after I kept seeing the eyes and hiked the rest of the way down talking to him. Basically said, if I don't get back in about an hour, here's where you can find my body. It was about a 5 miles hike, and my light was flickering and dying toward the end. It died after I got off the mesa, and I hiked the last few miles through fields without a light. The stalking stopped once I left the mesa, at least I think. And that's the story of when I was stalked by a mountain lion all the way off his mesa. I think I was in his hunting territory, and it had only just gotten dark. Pretty sure he was curious more than malicious. I was hiking a section of the North Umpqua Trail in Oregon a few years back with my sister-in-law. There was this beautiful view of the river, so we stopped and took a water break, but I immediately felt extremely uncomfortable. Like someone was watching us. I slowly turned my head to look behind us, but as I'm looking, I noticed bones strung from the trees, like creepy death wind chimes. My stomach just clenched and dropped. I could hear footsteps through the forest floor, coming from behind and slightly above us. I leaned forward and told her to pick up her speed. She did, I did, but so did whoever was behind us. For 2 middle-aged women, both slightly overweight, we ran like the damn wind. When we got home, we immediately called our local sheriff. A few days went by, and he showed up to let me know that we were not imagining things, and someone really did chase us. I asked what they found and who it was. He looked down at the ground and then looked up and said, "I'm not going to tell you what we found or who it was because if I do, you will never hike anywhere again. What we found was not normal and will not happen up here again." I never found out what they found or who it was. I never hiked that section of the trail again, and it completely burnt last year. I was walking a section of the Appalachian Trail with a couple of buddies when we happened across a bundle of sticks. The sticks were made into a figure, kinda similar to the ones from the Blair Witch Project. It was obviously placed there by someone as it was dead center on the middle of the trail. I thought it was cool, so I grabbed it and put it in my backpack. Anyway, we finished the hike and set up for the night in our camping spot. The next morning I got up and what did I find? An identical bundle of sticks to the one we'd found. First thing I did was check my pack, and sure enough, the one I picked up was still there. Each of my friends swore they didn't put it there. The thing that messes with me is the bundle I found in the morning was almost an exact replica of the one I had. I find it hard to believe one of the other guys could have made it without being able to model it after the one in my pack. And it's not like either would have placed the one on the trail beforehand, as it was far out in the middle of nowhere. I want to believe one of them pulled a prank, because the alternative scares the shit out of me. I'm not sure it counts as another human being because we didn't positively identify anyone, but a few years ago my friend and I were staying in a small cabin my dad had on a remote piece of land in the Idaho wilderness. The nearest town was probably 50 miles away, and the nearest active road that wasn't an old logging road was about 2 miles from the cabin. My friend and I had been bullshitting and laughing in the cabin in our bunks, and it was about midnight. We had turned off the lantern and were trying to fall asleep when we heard something that sounded like something had scraped the door. We both lifted our heads up and mumbled a conversation of, "Did you hear something?" "Yeah, ha ha ha." Then, in the middle of nowhere, in this remote cabin, someone starts knocking on the door. Doesn't say anything, just knocks. We were both in our 30s, but we were so scared shitless we didn't say anything. Just lay there with our heads up staring at the door. We didn't go out until it was light out again, and there was nothing near the door that would have tapped against it, and no animal tracks. It freaks me out even thinking about it. I camped in Northern California with a couple friends for 3 months straight in 2012. We're talking way out in the wilderness. The whole trip was a great success until we were heading south again. We set up camp a few miles outside of a tiny town as it was getting dark. The only things in this town were one long road, a gas station, a post office, and a bar. In the middle of the night we hear screaming in the distance. We could discern 3 different voices, but they were far enough away we couldn't quite make out what was being said. All of a sudden we hear a single gunshot, followed by absolute silence. I opened my tent and looked over at my friends who were looking back at me. None of us said a word. We laid back down and tried to sleep. Scariest night of my life. A lot of people wonder if we reported this to police. What police? You need to understand that in this area one sheriff patrols 3 counties. That's it. This area of Cali is what Sons of Anarchy was based on. I know that was TV and was dramatized, but there is some truth to what goes on in these areas. The sheriff is most likely in the pockets of the drug runners. It is in your best interest to put your head down and mind your own damn business, unless you want to be next. We were kids with no resources, backpacks and tents, hitchhiking through the Northwest. It would have been so easy to make us disappear next. As we conclude our journey through the haunted woods, remember that the mysteries we've uncovered are just a glimpse into the vast unknown that surrounds us. Join us next time on Ghostly Gazette as we continue to explore the paranormal, uncovering the stories that lurk in the shadows and haunt our dreams. Until then, stay curious, stay brave, and may the spirits guide you safely through the night.